Hi class, this is Principle of Marketing, last week of the course. Today I have important announcement including the study guide for your final exam and the tasks to be completed by the due date. First of all, those that are ready to submit your final poster, go to Week 16 folder in order to upload your file. You do not need to present or record your oral presentation, just upload your final poster file. Again, those that did not submit the draft, you probably need to go to Writing Center to make sure you do not make any grammatical errors or citation errors or spelling errors in your poster, because more than 5 errors would result into an automatic C on your poster. Also, Week 16 folder contains the link for your final exam. Alternatively, you can go to cengage.com and scroll down to the bottom after chapter 19. You would see the final exam link. Now, for the final exam, you have 3 hours to complete a 100 multiple choice questions. Now, the exam will be available at noon on December the 6th, but you can find any time between noon to midnight of December 6th to complete the exam. The exam may not take you all 3 hours, but at least that's where you should find the time to complete it. You have to complete in one sitting, which means you cannot save and come back to finish. You have to complete all the 100 questions and submit. You have 3 hours. Now, the detail of the exam is that I drew 10 questions from each chapter between 10 to 19. So starting from chapter 10, product concept, all the way to pricing concept is where you have to prepare your notes so that you can take the exam. I want to help you guys out. So here are the study guide for each chapter. Chapter 10, it's about product concepts. So focus on definition of terms such as product, each type of products, product mix, product line, product depth, product width, and brand. Chapter 11, it's about developing and managing products. Focus on terms such as brand equity, types of innovation, strategy to manage each type of innovation, and developing new product process, such as concept tests. Also, look over the factors in new product introductions, as well as each type of adoption, such as innovator or laggard. Chapter 12, it's about services and nonprofit organization marketing. You should focus on characteristic and definition of service. There are terms associated to the characteristic of services such as heterogeneity, reliability. Next is how to manage satisfaction, and focus on gap model to understand satisfaction in the service environment. Next, you should focus on strategy in developing service and managing it, as well as how to distribute services. Chapter 13, it's about supply chain management. So focus on the definition of supply chain management agile or lean supply chain management, the definition of sales and operation planning, characteristic of supply chain oriented. Also, the characteristic of demand supply integration. Also, terms about CRM, CSM, and 3PL. Also, the definition and characteristic of flexible manufacturing and how to manage returns. Chapter 14, it's about retailing. So look up the definition of retailing and store and non-store forms of retailing, such as for store form, you can look up different types such as discount store, like full line discount, specialty store, and the non-store form, we only have one type, which is e-tailer. Also look up other definition like gross margin so that you can complete exam for chapter 14. Chapter 15, it's about marketing communication. You need to look up the definition and different type of promotional mix versus promotional strategy. Look up different types of promotions. Look up the definition of competitive advantage, which is something that has been discussed since chapter 1 and 2. Look up the difference between interpersonal versus mass communication, and look up the components in the IDA model. IDA model stands for attention, interest, desire, and action. Chapter 16, it's about advertising, public relation, and sales promotion, which are forms of mass communication. So please look up the definition of advertising and public relations and know the difference between those two. Also, for advertising, you would learn the different terms such as response or reach. Look up the use of humor in advertising. Look up forms of advertising, and also look up the advantage and disadvantages of newspaper ad versus outdoor ad. Chapter 17 is about personal sellings. So look up the differences between consumer versus business focused sales promotions. Also look up characteristic of salespeople. Look up the different terms such as referrals, lead qualification, cold calling. Look up the definition and different types of touch points and customer relation management. Chapter 18, it's about social media. You need to look up the definition, advantages, disadvantages, and the effect of social media. You need to know the difference between earn, own, and paid social media. You need to look up definition and characteristic of crowdsourcing and social communication. Look up different types of social media matrices such as buzz. Look up different types of social media and technology that social media use, such as location-based GPS, blog and microblogs, and social media sharing sites. Chapter is about pricing concept. So look up the definition of markup, break-even analysis, look up different stages of product life cycle, look up the term associated with price discrimination, price baiting, penetration pricing, price fixing, and predatory pricing, as well as type of discounts. So that is the study guides that you need to prepare for before you can take the exam. It will be inefficient for you to open your book or textbooks or ebook as you complete the exam, although you are allowed to do so. However, 3 hours with 100 questions is not enough for you to go back to your textbook each time you have to look up the definition for each of the 100 questions. So be prepared and come up with notes based on my study guide before you start the exam. Now for the final project and the exam due dates, the final project, which is the socially responsible fashion business poster, would be due on Wednesday the 4th at midnight. And I set up this due date so that you have time after the poster due date to prepare for your exam. Now, if you have submitted the poster draft, which is due last week, you would have received 10 points. And that grade would be put on your Blackboard after I receive the Writing Center confirmation emails. Now, if you do not or did not submit the draft, you would only have 140 points to get, and that would count toward the total of 150 points for the poster. Again, you do not need to do any oral presentation, so you only need to upload your poster file. And again, it's due Wednesday the 4th at midnight. Your exams due on Friday the 6th at midnight. Again, the exam will be available at noon. Okay, I fixed the AM PM here. So it will be available at noon on Friday the 6th, and it will be up until midnight of the same day. If you enter the exam to take it late, then that's up to the time that has left before the exams ends at midnight on Friday the 6th. Also, you can access the exam on cengage.com. It would be at the very bottom of the page. Now, this is all about principles of marketing. Thanks so much for watching the lectures and paying attention to the details in the course for those that you have. Again, if you have any question, please email me. If you need an immediate response, you need to meet me on campus on Tuesday and Thursday between 3 to 3:50 at the Hague House. Because if you email me, if I do not reply to it immediately with 24 hours, you will not get immediate response. So if you have any question, please let me know. Thank you. Bye.